5 ways women see you're weak. Most men don't realize this Stoicism philosophy. Most men go through life unaware of the silent judgments others make about them. They think their words, their possessions, or their social status define their strength. But real power, it's not in what you own, it's in how you control yourself. Modern Stoic philosophy teaches us that true strength lies not in the external, but in our ability to master our inner world. Here's the thing, women can see weakness in a man long before he even realizes he's exposed. And the tragic reality, most men never understand why they're dismissed, overlooked, or disrespected. But a man on the path of modern Stoicism knows true strength doesn't come from the approval of others, it comes from the mastery of oneself. So why should you stick around and watch this video? Because we're going to reveal 5 ways women see your weakness that most men don't even recognize. Are you ready to step up? Let's dive in. Number 1, seeking validation. In today's world, many men find themselves trapped in a cycle of seeking approval from others. Whether it's through their actions, their words, or even the way they carry themselves, they often mold their lives to meet the expectations set by society, their peers, or those they admire. The need to be liked, admired, or validated is deeply ingrained. Yet the truth is that this quest for external validation is a reflection of something deeper, a lack of internal strength. It stems from a failure to trust in one's own worth and identity. When you seek approval from others, you are essentially placing the control of your self-esteem and sense of value in their hands. And this is where the problem lies. When others dictate your worth, you lose touch with who you truly are. This lack of self-trust is not just noticeable to those around you, including women, but it also has a detrimental impact on your personal growth and happiness. It's like being held captive in a mental prison of your own making. The moment you start seeking validation from others, you are relinquishing your personal power and allowing external forces to determine how you feel about yourself. As the ancient philosopher Epicurus wisely said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. What he was essentially teaching is that in order to grow as an individual, you must be willing to go against the grain, to be unapologetically yourself, even if it means appearing foolish to others. Seeking constant approval is not a path to true personal growth, but is instead a form of self-imposed imprisonment. Every time you look for validation from someone else, you are surrendering your power, and with it, your ability to be authentic. Imagine what happens when you stop seeking approval. The moment you let go of the need for external affirmation, you free yourself to step into your true power. A man who is grounded in his identity and self-worth no longer needs the validation of others. He speaks his mind, not to impress or gain admiration, but because his words reflect his authentic truth. This man is unshakable. He knows who he is and is comfortable in his own skin. His confidence is not contingent on what others think of him, and he doesn't shape his identity based on others' expectations. This is the power of being self-assured. When you stop seeking validation, you become more unpredictable and compelling. People begin to respect you not because you're trying to fit in or gain approval, but because of the strength and conviction you exhibit in standing firm in your beliefs. This is precisely what makes a man captivating and magnetic. He is respected not for seeking admiration, but for being so true to himself that others can't help but respect him. It's about knowing that your worth is not defined by the opinions or judgments of others. This concept aligns perfectly with the Stoic life lessons, which teach us to cultivate inner peace and tranquility by understanding that our value is not determined by others, but by our own actions and principles. When you stop seeking validation, you take back control of your narrative, and you begin to live for yourself rather than for the approval of others. This transformation does not happen overnight. It takes practice and dedication to stop relying on others for affirmation. But once you begin this journey, you will notice profound changes within yourself. You start to win not just in the eyes of others, but in your own mind and heart. You stop comparing yourself to others because you know that you are worthy simply by being who you are. This is the path of the true Stoic, a man who does not live for the approval of others, but for the truth of his own soul. A Stoic doesn't need others to confirm his worth because he has already determined it for himself. He is not swayed by praise or criticism, and he remains steadfast in his principles. The result of living in this way is remarkable. You stop being a man who is constantly striving to meet others' expectations, and instead you become a person who is genuinely respected, admired, and desired not for how well you can mold yourself to meet others' needs, but for your unwavering commitment to your own authenticity. People are drawn to those who know themselves and who stand by their convictions, regardless of outside opinions. It's not about being perfect or fitting into a mold. It's about being real, about showing up as your true self every day. The Stoic life teaches us that our actions and worth should be determined by our integrity and judgment, not by the fleeting approval of others. So ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped looking for others to affirm your value and instead decided to believe in it yourself? What if your identity wasn't shaped by how others saw you, but by how you saw yourself? Would you feel more confident? Would you feel more at peace with who you are? Would you be able to take more risks, express yourself more freely, and live with greater authenticity? The strength of a man who lives by this principle is undeniable. He no longer relies on others for his sense of worth or validation. He is his own source of approval, and because of this he radiates a quiet confidence and strength that cannot be ignored. This man does not change to fit the mold. Instead, he embraces the power of standing firm in who he truly is, and in doing so he becomes unstoppable. The journey towards self-validation is not easy, but it is incredibly rewarding. It is a journey that leads to personal growth, peace of mind, and a life lived on your own terms. So, take a moment and reflect, are you still living for the approval of others, or are you ready to step into your true power and live authentically, without fear of judgment? The choice is yours, and the power is in your hands. Number 2, over-apologizing. One of the most subtle yet powerful ways women often perceive weakness in men is through the act of over-apologizing. We've all heard it before. Apologizing when we're in the wrong is a sign of wisdom, maturity, and a willingness to take responsibility. But what about when the apologies come too frequently, when they're unnecessary, or when they're delivered even for things we didn't do? This is where the Stoic mindset can shed light on a deeper issue. Over-apologizing may seem like a way to maintain peace or avoid conflict, but in reality, it's a clear signal of insecurity and fear. A man who constantly apologizes for his opinions, his actions, or even his presence is broadcasting a lack of self-assurance. This man is afraid of rejection, afraid of conflict, and is often willing to sacrifice his own truth just to seek approval. As the philosopher Seneca once said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. What's truly interesting here is that the act of over-apologizing creates an inner narrative of fear and self-doubt rather than the strength of clarity and conviction. Think about it. When you constantly apologize, are you truly accepting yourself, or are you looking for validation from others? This constant seeking of approval diminishes your sense of self-worth and undermines your confidence. It's almost as though you're placing your self-esteem in the hands of others, rather than in the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing who you are and standing by your beliefs. To embrace the Stoic path, we must learn to stand firm, to be rooted in our own truth, and to apologize only when it's truly necessary. This doesn't mean we become arrogant or refuse to acknowledge our mistakes. Rather, it means we're selective about when we say sorry, aligning our actions with the Stoic virtue of wisdom. The Stoic happiness we seek comes from the strength of owning our actions, both the good and the bad, without the need for excessive apologies. This doesn't mean you'll never make mistakes, but it does mean you will own them with grace and learn from them without the unnecessary weight of guilt or self-doubt. Do you find yourself apologizing unnecessarily? How might your life change if you held yourself with more certainty and clarity, especially when it comes to your own decisions and actions? It's through this practice of self-assurance and restraint that we can stop seeing apologies as a form of weakness and start seeing them as the powerful tool they were always meant to be, used only when they align with our values and integrity. Think about the last time you apologized for something that wasn't truly your fault. How did it make you feel afterward? Did it bring you peace, or did it reinforce the feeling that you were, in some way, less than? The next time you feel the urge to apologize, pause. Reflect on whether it's truly necessary, or whether you're simply trying to avoid conflict or gain approval. In doing so, you'll begin to cultivate the strength of a man who knows his worth, one who doesn't rely on constant apologies to maintain his relationships or his peace of mind. The simple act of holding your ground, even in the face of discomfort, will reinforce your self-respect and empower you to engage more authentically with the world around you. After all, as the Stoics teach, true power comes from within, and Stoic happiness stems from living authentically and with conviction. The strength to avoid over-apologizing lies in our ability to remain calm and resolute, even when faced with moments that challenge our self-perception. So next time you feel the urge to apologize unnecessarily, take a moment to reflect and remember that your power is in standing firm in your own truth. This is how we stop being prisoners to insecurity and start becoming the unshakable men we're meant to be. If you've made it this far, I encourage you to comment hard on yourself below. It's a great way to show that you're finding strength in standing up for yourself instead of apologizing unnecessarily. Number 3, fear of silence. One key trait that sets high-value men apart from others is their ability to embrace silence. Many men, especially those who haven't yet developed a strong sense of self, often fear quiet moments. They believe that silence creates discomfort, so they rush to fill it with words, whether that's rambling, over-explaining, or trying to entertain. There's a deep-rooted belief that if they don't speak, they will be forgotten or disliked. But here's the truth: silence holds a unique power. When you learn to embrace it, you gain a certain magnetic presence that is hard to ignore. A strong man doesn't fear quiet moments. Instead, he understands that silence can speak louder than any words. When you're able to pause and not rush to speak, you create an air of mystery and authority. Think about it. How many times have you been in a room full of people and one person speaks very little, yet everyone listens intently when they do? This is the result of mastering silence. The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, recognized this truth long ago. They believed that wisdom is often found in restraint, meaning that by holding back your words, you allow them to carry more weight when you do speak. This is a Stoic life lesson that many men overlook. By mastering the art of silence, you master the art of presence. And presence, my friend, is not something that can be overlooked. A man with true presence doesn't need to speak constantly to be noticed. His very presence commands respect. Imagine a room where a confident man sits in the corner, his silence not awkward, but powerful. His stillness makes people pause. You'll find that people listen more closely to what he says and value it more, simply because it's rare and deliberate. Consider a leader in the modern world, perhaps a business executive, an athlete, or even someone you know personally. Have you ever noticed how they don't fill every conversation with empty chatter? Instead, they know when to speak, when to listen, and when to allow silence to do the talking. It's in these moments that their influence is most powerful. It's not just about what you say, but the quiet confidence you exude when you don't feel the need to say anything. Think about the last time you were in a meeting and someone said very little, yet when they did speak, it had everyone's attention. Why is that? It's because silence, when used strategically, exudes power and commands respect. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't need to fill every gap with words to prove their worth. Have you ever thought about how much more impactful your words could be if you spoke less but said more? So ask yourself, are you comfortable with silence? Do you find yourself rushing to fill every pause with words? Or are you learning to harness the power of restraint? The next time you're in a conversation, try this. When there's a lull in the discussion, simply hold space. Don't rush to speak. Notice how the others react and how your presence starts to shift the energy in the room. You'll soon realize that mastering silence is not about avoiding conversation, it's about commanding respect, creating intrigue, and embodying authority. Silence isn't about shutting down, it's about giving space for the right things to be said at the right time, in the right way. Can you picture yourself as someone who doesn't rush to speak, but instead waits for the perfect moment to share your thoughts? How would that change how people perceive you? In the end, the lesson here is simple. Silence, when used intentionally, is a tool that can elevate you from average to high value. So next time you're in a situation where you'd normally talk just to fill the space, resist the urge. Allow silence to speak for you and watch how the dynamic changes. You'll notice that the energy in the room shifts, people will lean in a little closer, respect will be earned, and your influence will grow. It's in those moments of restraint that you truly find your power. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of control, confidence, and calm authority. When you embrace silence, you begin to understand that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. Number 4, emotional reactivity. We live in a world where emotional reactivity can often seem like a natural response to the pressures around us, but the truth is that a man who lets his emotions dictate his actions is a man who's lost his power. When you easily get offended, lash out, or crumble under pressure, you're allowing yourself to be a slave to your impulses, not the master of your own life. It's in moments of stress, confrontation, and challenge that your true strength is revealed, or rather your weakness. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This is one of the core Stoic life lessons, understanding that your emotions, though real and powerful, do not have to control your actions. In a world where we're constantly bombarded by triggers and provocations, how often do we stop to reflect before reacting? It's a question that, when answered, can radically shift how we show up in the world. In women, often more perceptive than men realize, instinctively distrust men who can't control their emotional responses. The reason for this is simple: emotional instability signals a lack of self-mastery. If you cannot govern your emotions in the face of everyday challenges, how can you be trusted to navigate the bigger storms of life? Think about it. When you're quick to anger or frustration, you don't exude strength, you exude vulnerability. Emotional outbursts or reacting to every provocation puts you at the mercy of your surroundings, and others can sense this. It creates a picture of someone who is easily thrown off course, someone who doesn't have the resilience or steadiness to be a reliable partner or leader. However, when you embody emotional control and calmness under pressure, you project an aura of power and confidence. In moments of tension, staying composed and not reacting impulsively signals to others that you are grounded and self-sufficient, and capable of navigating life's difficulties with grace. Power, after all, is magnetic. Women and others around you are naturally drawn to men who can remain calm in the face of adversity because it inspires trust and respect. Think of the most successful leaders, not just in business but in every aspect of life. Their ability to maintain composure during crises is often what sets them apart. And this doesn't mean you suppress your feelings or ignore them, but rather you learn to acknowledge them without letting them control your actions. In today's fast-paced world, we are often encouraged to be reactive, to speak our minds in the heat of the moment, to express every emotion as soon as it arises. But this kind of unchecked emotional reactivity only makes you more vulnerable and less effective. The Stoic life teaches us that it's not the external world that determines our peace, but how we respond to it. If you want to win Stoic, you must practice patience and restraint. Being able to remain calm, even in the most stressful situations, is not just a sign of strength, it's a sign of emotional intelligence. And in today's world, emotional intelligence is one of the most powerful tools a man can possess. So ask yourself, when was the last time you reacted impulsively? How did that decision serve you? Could you have chosen a more measured response? Learning to take a step back, breathe, and then respond thoughtfully can elevate your presence in every situation. In the end, the ability to control your emotions isn't just about being strong for the sake of strength, it's about being a person others can rely on. Just a person who can handle the pressure of life without crumbling. And when you achieve this emotional mastery, you will not only earn respect, but you will also begin to live a life that is truly yours, free from the control of fleeting feelings. The Stoics understood this deeply. True power comes from within, and it's our ability to maintain inner peace, regardless of external circumstances, that defines our strength. The more you cultivate this ability, the more you will naturally attract the respect, admiration, and trust that come from being a man who is in control not of others, but of himself. Number 5. Lack of purpose. Imagine this. You're sailing through life without a map, without a clear direction or mission. The winds of change blow, but they don't carry you anywhere meaningful. Does that sound familiar? A man without purpose, without a deep internal fire driving him forward, is one of the most unattractive and unappealing types of individuals. This isn't just about romantic relationships, it's about life itself. When you have no purpose, you're drifting, and that lack of direction seeps into everything you do. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, if one does not know which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. This profound statement speaks volumes about the importance of having a clear sense of purpose. Without it, no matter what opportunities come your way, they won't feel like they lead anywhere worthwhile. You'll always be searching, always trying to fill that emptiness inside, but you'll never truly arrive. Now, think about this. A man without purpose is often the kind of man who attaches himself to others, often a woman hoping that they will give him meaning, hoping they will fill the void within him. But here's the hard truth. No one can hand you purpose. It's something you have to forge for yourself. You must first understand what drives you, what you're passionate about, and what your mission is in life. Once you've found that, everything else will fall into place. A strong man does not need to beg for attention or constantly seek validation because he's too busy building his own path. His focus is on his mission, his vision, his purpose. And that sense of purpose is what gives him a unique energy that draws people to him without him ever having to try. Now, ask yourself this: do you wake up every day feeling like you're moving towards something that matters? Or do you sometimes feel lost, unsure of what you're working toward or why you're doing what you're doing? In our modern world, it's easy to fall into the trap of drifting, especially when distractions are everywhere. But if you want to cultivate a Stoic mindset, one of clarity and determination, you have to get serious about your purpose. A man who has purpose doesn't cling to others for worth. His worth is already inherent in the mission he's pursuing. He doesn't need external validation to feel whole. His internal drive is what fuels him. You see, purpose is the ultimate form of self-sufficiency. When you have it, you're not waiting for someone or something to fill you up. You are already complete. You are in constant motion, not because you're running away from something, but because you're running towards something greater. The person who has a purpose doesn't just wander aimlessly through life. He has a direction, and every step he takes is calculated, meaningful, and with intent. So what about you? Do you feel like you're making strides towards something meaningful, or are you just going through the motions? A man with purpose has a profound impact on the world around him. He attracts others, not because he's trying to impress anyone, but because people are naturally drawn to his focus, his drive, and his inner strength. When you're not dependent on others for meaning, when you create your own path, you don't need to chase after anything. Things, people, and opportunities will naturally come to you because your purpose is magnetic. That's the kind of power that comes from within, the kind that leads to Stoic happiness. To win Stoic is to understand that purpose is the foundation upon which everything else rests. It is the driving force behind your decisions, your actions, and your life. Without it, you will always feel adrift, lost in a sea of uncertainty. But when you have purpose, you not only become the captain of your own ship, but you also chart a course that others want to follow. It's time to stop waiting for something to give you meaning and start building it yourself. When you do, you'll find that everything you need will start to fall into place. If you are ready to find your true purpose, if you are ready for your life to no longer be vague or drifting, leave a comment below saying, "I have a clear purpose." Because by the end of this video, you will no longer be a person living aimlessly, but a person with a direction, with a distinct mission. Strength is mastery. A woman may admire a man's looks, be entertained by his words, but what makes her respect him and be drawn to him is his inner mastery. A weak man seeks approval, while a strong man seeks truth. A weak man fears rejection, but a strong man fears only dishonor. A weak man reacts, while a strong man controls. The question is not how to make her like you, but how to become the man you were meant to be. Become that man, and the world, including her, will take notice. 10 things she does when she feels weak for you. Have you ever wondered how to really tell when a woman is turned on but trying to hide it? You see, most men are just looking for the obvious signs: intense eye contact, flirty smiles, or playful touches. So in this video, I'm going to break it all down, minus 10 undeniable signs that she's turned on, but holding it in. Let's start at number 10. Number 10, the accidental touch fixation. Do you ever find yourself wondering why women act a certain way around you? Especially when they're giving off signals that seem a little subtle or confusing. It's easy to miss these signs, but when you understand the psychology behind them, you'll have a whole new level of insight into how women perceive your strength or weakness. Today, we'll dive into one of those signs that many men overlook, and trust me, once you get it, you'll be in a much stronger position to build attraction, connection, and even trust. When a woman subtly adjusts her necklace, fiddles with her rings, or rolls up and down her sleeves, don't dismiss these movements as random or nervous tics. They're not. These actions are actually a silent signal of something more profound. Women often redirect their nervous energy, especially when they're experiencing attraction or heightened emotions, into something physical. It's as if her body wants to release that tension, but she's unsure how to do so. Adrenaline kicks in, and instead of being open about the source of her nervous energy, she channels it into something less overt. This is where the power of observation comes in. As a man, noticing these cues is a game changer, and it ties into a critical Stoic life lesson: awareness is power. When a woman is subconsciously revealing that she's nervous or even excited, it's an opportunity for you to display both your own emotional control and your awareness. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we cannot control the external events that happen to us, but we can control our reactions. This principle extends to how we perceive the behaviors of others. So when you spot her fidgeting or playing with her jewelry, instead of ignoring or overanalyzing it, you can take a more composed, subtle approach to address it. With a quiet confidence, make a casual remark like, "You keep messing with your necklace, nervous about something." Say it with a smirk, a light tease, and notice how her energy shifts. The moment she realizes you're aware of her unspoken cues, the dynamics change. She'll feel caught in her own tension, and this could shift the power balance subtly in your favor. You're not forcing anything, just recognizing the undercurrent of her emotions, and that in itself is a sign of strength. When you can read subtle signs, you're tapping into a deeper emotional layer, not just responding to behavior. The key is to avoid seeming manipulative. Use stoic poise and composure instead. A man who remains calm and collected, even when faced with a woman's nervous energy, is incredibly attractive. By acknowledging her tension with a simple, nonchalant comment, you show emotional intelligence and strength. You don't get rattled, you observe and respond without awkwardness. These signals inner strength, which is much more appealing than just physical power. In a world where emotions are often masked or exaggerated, being centered and perceptive sets you apart. Women value emotional stability and the ability to navigate social cues with confidence. By controlling your responses, you exude a calm, magnetic power. When she fidgets or adjusts her necklace, it's more than a nervous habit. It's your chance to lead the interaction with stoic confidence. You're not just observing, you're deepening the connection and earning respect and attraction. This is how you win stoic. Number 9, the overreact and laugh effect. Have you ever noticed how someone might laugh more than usual in response to something you said? It's not uncommon for a woman to laugh a lot after a seemingly neutral or even serious comment. But here's the thing, that laughter might not have anything to do with what you said. Instead, it could be all about how you make her feel. You see, attraction doesn't just sit on the surface. When a woman feels drawn to you, her emotional and physical awareness gets heightened. Everything seems more intense, including her responses, and laughter is often her way of burning off that nervous energy. It's her way of signaling to you without words that she's attracted to you and that your presence is making her feel something deep inside. As Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This idea highlights how our emotions often play a bigger role in our reactions than the external event itself. The laughter you hear isn't necessarily about your words, it's about the effect you're having on her emotions. So, how can you tell when this is happening? It's simple, pay attention to her reactions. Try saying something neutral, something that isn't meant to be funny at all, and see how she responds. If she still laughs, still manages to keep things light and playful, the laughter likely isn't about your words at all. Instead, it's a reaction to the way you make her feel. She's responding to you, your energy, your presence. It's a clear sign that the attraction is at play. This can be a great opportunity to understand the power of your presence and the emotional connection you're creating. Think about it for a moment. How often do you find yourself laughing when there's really nothing funny about the situation? It could be a sign that you're emotionally engaged, even if you don't realize it at the time. The way we react to people is deeply tied to the emotional state they put us in. In the case of attraction, it's your presence that's sparking an emotional response within her, something beyond just the words you speak. This isn't just an isolated incident either. It's an example of how attraction triggers emotional intensity. As you begin to understand these subtle cues, you realize that laughter isn't just a reaction to words, it's a deeper response to how someone feels around you. This is where the Stoic mindset comes into play. When you adopt a Stoic happiness, meaning you remain calm, collected, and grounded regardless of what's happening around you, it changes the way people respond to you. Women, in particular, tend to feel drawn to a man who exudes inner peace and confidence. When you don't let external events dictate your emotional state, you maintain a sense of stability that others find magnetic. And when she laughs more than expected, it's often a sign of her subconscious recognizing that calm, confident energy in you. Now, take a step back and think about the bigger picture. How often do you find yourself in a situation where you feel a connection, but you can't quite explain why? It's because human interactions are filled with subtle emotional cues, many of which we don't even realize we're sending or receiving. In the context of attraction, those cues are crucial. Laughter is just one of many ways someone might express how they feel about you. The more you understand how the Stoic mindset works, how remaining emotionally balanced and in control can affect your relationships, the more you'll begin to see these subtle signals. So, the next time you're with a woman and she laughs a little more than expected, ask yourself, is this about the words I said, or is it about how I made her feel? The more you can be aware of these subtle emotional cues, the more you'll understand how attraction works on a deeper level. It's not just about what you say, it's about the energy you bring into the room. Have you ever noticed how your emotional state seems to influence the way people respond to you? Does staying grounded and calm make a difference in how others engage with you? These are the types of questions that can help you build a deeper understanding of human connections. Number 8, the deep breath before speaking. Have you ever noticed a woman take a quick, sharp breath right before she answers something you say? It's subtle, but it's a powerful moment. You might not always catch it, but this small action reveals a lot about how she's feeling. It's not a dramatic sigh or a long, drawn-out inhale. It's a quick, almost unconscious breath, as if her body is resetting itself before she speaks. Why does this happen? It's because her body is responding to emotional excitement. When someone is attracted to you, their heart rate increases, their breathing becomes more shallow, and that little reset breath is her way of regaining control over her physical responses. It's not something most men notice, but it's a clear sign that she's emotionally engaged with you. So, what should you do when you notice this pause? This is where you can take control of the situation in a subtle way. Instead of rushing through the moment, hold eye contact with her. Let the silence stretch just a little longer than usual. Why? Because if she's already struggling to stay composed, you're the reason why. That brief pause, that extra breath, it's her body's response to the attraction she's feeling. By giving her a little more time in that moment, you acknowledge her emotional state without rushing in to fill the space. This demonstrates emotional awareness and control traits that are deeply attractive. Doesn't it make you think about how much of our emotional state is revealed through our body language? When someone's heart rate increases or their breathing changes, it's often a clear sign that something is happening beneath the surface. These little cues are often overlooked, but for high-value men, recognizing them can be a game changer. It's not always about what you say, sometimes it's about how you say it and how you handle the moments of silence that follow. The Stoic life lesson here is about being composed and aware of the subtle signals around you. In those moments when you don't rush, when you let the energy build, you're showing emotional intelligence. You're letting the attraction unfold naturally without forcing it. Think about how often you rush to fill the silence in conversations. What would happen if you stopped and just let the energy of the moment breathe? When you become more aware of these emotional signals, you'll notice that attraction doesn't always need words. Sometimes the pause, the silence, the lingering moment of eye contact, these can be just as powerful as anything you say. This is part of the Stoic mindset, understanding that not every moment needs to be filled with words. Your presence, your ability to let things unfold at their own pace, can be just as compelling as your conversation. How often do you embrace the power of silence in your interactions? By learning to recognize and respond to these signals, you're not just understanding attraction, you're mastering it. Number 7. The wandering hands trick. This one's all about what her hands are doing when she's sitting still. If she's tracing circles on the table, running her fingers along the rim of her glass, drumming her nails, tapping or playing with a straw, that's not random. That's her body burning off energy. When a woman is turned on but trying to stay composed, she has to channel that feeling somewhere, and sometimes it shows up in these tiny, absent-minded gestures. How do you respond? Test it, subtly mimic her movements. If she's tracing a pattern on the table, wait a few seconds and do the same. If she notices and reacts, laughs, stops or playfully calls you out, you just cracked through her defense, and trust me, she feels it. Number 6, the sudden energy boost. 1 second she's relaxed, the next she's animated. She's talking faster, moving more, gesturing bigger. It's like she suddenly has a burst of energy, and it's because she does. When a woman is turned on, her body is full of adrenaline, and sometimes she can't help but let it out in big, energetic bursts. Do you know where it's coming from? Attraction heightens the nervous system. It gets her blood pumping, her senses heightened. And if she's around you, and suddenly she's more energetic than she was before, that's her burning off nervous excitement. How do you know for sure? Step back, lower your voice, and slow down your own movements. If she keeps that high energy vibe, keeps bouncing in her seat, keeps playing with her hair while talking faster and faster, her body is reacting to you. Now you're in full control. And that was just the first half. Because the next 5? They're even harder to hide. Maybe you've already started connecting the dots, thinking back to a time when a woman kept fidgeting with her jewelry, laughing a little too hard, or playing with a straw while talking to you. Maybe you brushed it off before, but now you realize she wasn't just being random. Trust me, the next 5 signs are even more revealing. One of them is something women don't even realize they do, but once you catch it, you'll never unsee it. Another one, if you spot it, means she's holding back something serious. Let's get back into it. You've come this far because you're ready to change and grow. Leave a comment with "Give me a powerful quote" to show that you're open to your inner awakening. Number 5, the lip squeeze reflex. Have you ever noticed the subtle way a woman's lips move when she's engaged with you? It's one of the clearest signs of attraction, yet most men overlook it. When she slightly presses her lips together, as if holding back a reaction, it's not random, it's her body trying to maintain control. This small gesture reveals that she's feeling something deeper than what she's letting on. Her lips become more sensitive when she's attracted to you, and in that moment she might be fighting the urge to smile, bite her lips, or even part them slightly, but almost as if inviting you in. This is a physical reaction to emotional excitement. But as the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, the greatest wealth is to live content with little. This applies here too when you notice these small, almost invisible cues. You realize that the real strength is in paying attention to the subtle moments instead of searching for obvious signs. It's not always the loud gestures or grand moves that make an impact. Sometimes it's in the quiet, controlled reactions that hold the most meaning. So, what should you do when you notice this lip squeeze reflex? It's simple: pause. Hold eye contact just a little longer than you normally would. Let that moment linger, because that's when the real power starts to build. If she's physically reacting to you, it's a clear sign that the attraction is there, but it's up to you to amplify it by staying calm and composed. How often do you let these moments pass without really noticing them? By practicing a Stoic mindset, you can learn to embrace these subtle signals and use them to your advantage. Rather than rushing to fill the silence, you allow the tension to build naturally, showing her that you're in control of the situation. This is the key to creating a deeper, more meaningful connection. Can you be patient in these moments, letting things unfold at their own pace? This ability to stay composed and allow the attraction to build naturally is what gives you an edge. By understanding these small yet significant cues, you can increase the emotional connection and build a stronger bond, all while practicing the art of Stoic happiness. You aren't chasing the attraction, you're allowing it to happen at its own pace, calmly and effortlessly. Are you ready to recognize these moments and take control without forcing anything? Mastering this skill is what helps you develop a deeper understanding of the dynamics around you, allowing you to respond with poise and confidence, to building stronger connections with those you interact with. Number 4, the innocent until proven guilty defense. Alright, let's talk about something that can really shift how you interact with women, especially if you want to understand how they perceive your strength or weakness. Picture this: you tease her, casually saying, "You're kind of into me, aren't you?" Now, pay close attention to her response. If she laughs it off with a light-hearted smirk or rolls her eyes, that's one thing: she's either not interested or playing along. But if she suddenly gets defensive with a sharp "What? No way. What are you talking about?" that's when you know something's going on. She's been caught. See, here's the reality: when someone isn't hiding something, they don't feel the need to overreact or push back that hard. But when she's feeling something she hasn't fully admitted to herself or is trying to keep hidden, her instinct is to deny it, sometimes even more than is necessary. Think about it like this: when you're accused of something you haven't done, you might get defensive, but not in an exaggerated way. It's the same principle with women. When they feel a connection or attraction, but don't want to acknowledge it or let it show, the denial can be overwhelming. Now, what's your next move? Here's where the Stoic life lesson comes into play. Don't back down. This is where emotional composure becomes a superpower. Instead of getting thrown off by her defensiveness, hold your ground. Smirk confidently, maintain strong eye contact, and let the silence work its magic. The tension you create with your quiet confidence will do more than words could ever achieve. She'll be sitting there, wondering if you've truly seen right through her. And let's be clear, this isn't about being manipulative. It's about demonstrating strength by staying calm in the face of resistance, something high-value men do consistently. Think about a situation in modern life where you've seen something like this unfold. Maybe it was in a casual conversation with someone, and the moment you subtly called them out on something they were trying to hide, their reaction was immediate and defensive. It wasn't that they were guilty, but rather that their own internal conflict caused them to deny it more intensely. This is human nature. It's the way we react when we feel exposed or vulnerable. The women, just like men, don't want to be vulnerable, especially when emotions or attraction are involved. It's a survival instinct to protect ourselves from being too obvious about how we feel. So what does this all mean for you? It means that by understanding these subtle shifts in behavior, you're learning how to read people better and show up as a high-value man. A high-value man doesn't flinch when faced with someone's defensiveness or emotional walls. He stands firm, composed, and secure. This is what creates respect, not only in the moment but long-term. When a woman feels like you're not easily shaken, you elevate your value in her eyes. Your ability to stay emotionally grounded when she tries to cover up her true feelings shows you're someone who can handle emotional complexity, something few men master. The next time you find yourself in a situation like this, remember this Stoic life lesson: don't react, just respond with quiet confidence. Let the silence and your composure reveal your strength. This is the essence of being a high-value man, someone who is unaffected by distractions and remains steady in the face of uncertainty. Number 3, the shaky hands glitch. Have you ever noticed subtle signs that a woman might be into you, but you're unsure how to read them? These small, almost invisible details can reveal a lot about her true feelings. Understanding them can not only boost your confidence, but also help you navigate social situations like a pro. Today we're going to explore one of those signs, something most men miss entirely, and how you can use it to your advantage. Let's dive into the shaky hands glitch. This one's all about adrenaline, and it's a powerful sign of attraction. Picture this: she's holding a drink, scrolling through her phone, or fixing her hair. If you notice her hands trembling just slightly, Don't brush it off as nerves, it's likely excitement. When a woman is genuinely attracted to someone, her body releases adrenaline, and sometimes that adrenaline causes those tiny, uncontrollable shakes. It's subtle, but if you're observant, you'll catch it. This is the body's way of reacting to heightened emotions, and in this case, the emotion is intense attraction. It's a clear signal that something serious is happening under the surface, even if she's trying to mask it. Now, how do you respond to this? Here's where Stoic life lessons come in. Instead of rushing ahead or overreacting, slow things down. Lower your voice, give her space, and let her sit in that moment. This is where true strength lies, not in pushing forward, but in creating a calm, controlled presence that allows the tension to build naturally. By maintaining your composure, you're reinforcing your value and giving her the space to process her own feelings. When a woman's body is already having a physical reaction to you, you've essentially got her attention. Now it's your move to win Stoic, showing emotional control and understanding in that moment. Number 2, the avoid and return eye contact move. Alright, let's talk about something that can really shift how you interact with women, especially if you want to understand how they perceive your strength or weakness. Picture this: you tease her, casually saying, "You're kind of into me, aren't you?" Now, pay close attention to her response. If she laughs it off with a light-hearted smirk or rolls her eyes, that's one thing: she's either not interested or playing along. But if she suddenly gets defensive with a sharp "What? No way. What are you talking about?" that's when you know something's going on. She's been caught. See, here's the reality: when someone isn't hiding something, they don't feel the need to overreact or push back that hard. But when she's feeling something she hasn't fully admitted to herself or is trying to keep hidden, her instinct is to deny it, sometimes even more than is necessary. Think about it like this: when you're accused of something you haven't done, you might get defensive, but not in an exaggerated way. It's the same principle with women. When they feel a connection or attraction, but don't want to acknowledge it or let it show, the denial can be overwhelming. Now, what's your next move? Here's where the Stoic life lesson comes into play. Don't back down. This is where emotional composure becomes a superpower. Instead of getting thrown off by her defensiveness, hold your ground. Smirk confidently, maintain strong eye contact, and let the silence work its magic. The tension you create with your quiet confidence will do more than words could ever achieve. She'll be sitting there, wondering if you've truly seen right through her. And let's be clear, this isn't about being manipulative. It's about demonstrating strength by staying calm in the face of resistance, something high-value men do consistently. Think about a situation in modern life where you've seen something like this unfold. Maybe it was in a casual conversation with someone, and the moment you subtly called them out on something they were trying to hide, their reaction was immediate and defensive. It wasn't that they were guilty, but rather that their own internal conflict caused them to deny it more intensely. This is human nature. It's the way we react when we feel exposed or vulnerable. Women, just like men, don't want to be vulnerable, especially when emotions or attraction are involved. It's a survival instinct to protect ourselves from being too obvious about how we feel. So what does this all mean for you? It means that by understanding these subtle shifts in behavior, you're learning how to read people better and show up as a high-value man. A high-value man doesn't flinch when faced with someone's defensiveness or emotional walls. He stands firm, composed, and secure. This is what creates respect, not only in the moment but long-term. When a woman feels like you're not easily shaken, you elevate your value in her eyes. Your ability to stay emotionally grounded when she tries to cover up her true feelings shows you're someone who can handle emotional complexity, something few men master. The next time you find yourself in a situation like this, remember this Stoic life lesson: don't react, just respond with quiet confidence. Let the silence and your composure reveal your strength. This is the essence of being a high-value man, someone who is unaffected by distractions and remains steady in the face of uncertainty. If you've made it this far in the video, I encourage you to comment Stoic vision below. This is a great way to show you're gaining a deeper understanding of the power of eye control and attention. Number 1. The sudden goodbye hesitation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed the hesitation in her goodbye? You know the moment she's standing there, keys in hand, bag over her shoulder, ready to leave, yet somehow she lingers. Maybe she adjusts her hair one last time, maybe she fidgets with something in her hands, or maybe she offers one more excuse just to keep the conversation going. It's subtle, but it's clear she's waiting for you to stop her. The truth is, she doesn't want to leave yet, and that hesitation is her way of signaling that she's still interested, still connected to you. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Her body is giving you a clue, but how you react is what will truly make the difference. So, what should you do in that moment? Don't just stand there, passively waiting for her to make the next move. Instead, take control. Smirk, look her in the eye, and say something like, "You keep stalling like this," almost like you don't actually want to go. Notice the pause there. If she laughs, hesitates, or gives a weak excuse, you've cracked through her defense. She's not ready to leave, and she's giving you a green light. If you miss this moment, if you let her walk away without seizing the opportunity, you're missing one of the most obvious signs of interest. It's easy to get caught up in the assumption that women will always be direct about their feelings, but that's not how it works. Most guys overlook these subtle clues. They think attraction will always be loud and obvious, but the real game is played in the details, the small cues that most men miss. So, next time you're with a woman, pay close attention to these subtle signs. Notice the way she lingers, the way her body reacts when you're near. This is where your Stoic mindset comes into play, remaining calm, composed, and aware of what's happening beneath the surface. You don't need to chase or overthink things. Instead, you observe, you respond, and you lead. When you start to notice these signals, you'll no longer be left guessing about where you stand with her. Your ability to read her body language and respond with quiet confidence will set you apart. This is what attracts, not only because of your actions, but because of the calm power you exude. Are you ready to start seeing the hidden signs that women give off and to respond in a way that builds connection without forcing it? Recognizing these small cues will help you develop the type of Stoic happiness that comes with mastering your emotions and actions. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present, observing, and knowing how to take control when the moment is right. So the next time you're with her, keep an eye out. Can you catch the small signals that she's still interested? That hesitation in her goodbye could be your cue to make a move. Stay aware, stay calm, and watch how the energy shifts when you respond with confidence and poise. That's how you win Stoic, with awareness, control, and the wisdom to understand the details. In conclusion, recognizing the subtle signs that a woman feels attracted to you, yet is trying to hold back, is a powerful tool for understanding and enhancing your connections. These signs, from nervous movements to hesitation in goodbyes, are often overlooked but can tell you a lot about her feelings. By practicing Stoic principles such as emotional control, awareness and composure, you not only navigate these moments effectively, but you also demonstrate your strength, calmness, and confidence, qualities that make you more desirable and respected. So, the next time you notice these signals, take a deep breath, stay grounded, and let your awareness guide you.